Hi, I'm Azaria Tagaya, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Ringgit Cents Plus, powered by Ringgit Plus. As always, on this show, we talk about personal finance and current issues pertaining to money that affect you directly. And this week, we take another look at the cost of living. But before we get to that, let's talk about salaries for fresh graduates. Bank Negara Malaysia, BNM, recently published a study, and it showed that starting salaries for fresh graduates have actually fallen over the last 8 years. Now, this came as no surprise to graduates already in the job market. Many have since come out to criticize employers for not helping graduates cope with the cost of living, especially in large cities like in the Klang Valley. We spoke with the Malaysian Employers Federation to find out about the challenges in raising the salaries for those who are newly entering the job market. Among the findings of the Bank Negara Malaysia Annual Report 2018 are that workers in Malaysia are not paid fairly compared to other developed countries. Datuk Shamsuddin Bardan, the Executive Director of the Malaysian Employers Federation MEF, says he doesn't quite agree with the findings in its entirety. Datuk Shamsuddin is of the view that some aspects of the report could create unease among employees as well as a disharmony among employers and staff.
I must say that I don't agree with that kind of findings because, the report assumed that everything is the same. So it is more like in a controlled environment, whereas when you do business, you're not doing it in a controlled environment. Of course, labor cost is one of the factors, but as employers, as businesses, you need to take care of other costs and see whether at the end of the day, whether it is still worthwhile for you to do the business or not. And otherwise, then there is no point for us to do business. Say for example, if the Malaysian employers are expected to pay the same rate like their counterparts in Europe, in US, and in Singapore, then question is whether, then at the end of the day, whether there is any margin at all for the employer concerned. So if an employer finds that there is no margin at all for them to do business, then there is no way they can continue the activity. So that will lead to a lot of, I would say, negative consequences if we just take the report and say that because of that, we must increase our wages. Obviously, yes, I mean, the report can be used for discussion purposes, can be used for planning purposes, but to say that just because of that, then the Malaysian employers must increase their wages by 33% or 34% like that, I don't think it's a fair call.
According to Datuk Shamsuddin, there are many different factors that must be examined before employers can determine a suitable rate, such as the skill level of the employee, the consumer price index, and the poverty line in the country. The most important factor is the employer's capacity to pay the salary. The report also suggests that the economy has not created sufficient high-skilled jobs to absorb the number of graduates entering the labor force. Datuk Shamsuddin agrees with this. He says that for every 100 jobs created, 89 jobs are for the lower rank, 7 are for skilled workers, and 4 for management positions. He thinks more needs to be done to assist employers hire graduates, as currently there are more graduates being produced than jobs available for them. He is of the view that graduate unemployment may get worse over time. In its conclusion, the report asks this question. While employers need to be fairly compensated for their respective factor inputs, the question remains, why is the share of compensation accrued to employers instead of employees higher relative to our aspirational peers? How can Malaysia's taxation and distributive policies positively impact and enhance the division of incomes? Basically, this is to imply that employers are reaping the rewards while not sharing the profits with the staff. Datuk Shamsuddin disagrees, as there are many employers who share their profits with their employees through the payment of bonuses. He points out that over time, cost has also gone up for employers, while employees' productivity hasn't increased much. Additionally, BNM's annual report states that a fresh graduate with a diploma could earn a salary of 1,376 ringgit in 2018 compared to 1,458 ringgit in 2010. while a master's degree holder could now earn a salary of 2,923 ringgit as of 2018 compared to 2,707 ringgit 8 years ago. This shows only a slight increase over the past 8 years, especially for fresh graduates. Datuk Shamsuddin believes fresh graduates should not be weighed down by this finding.
Starting pay is just starting pay. Don't be so worried about starting pay because if the new graduate concerned is showing that he has a lot of potential and can contribute to the company, I think in no time the company and the employer will review the pay. Yeah?
For fresh graduates with good academic qualifications, the callback rate is very competitive. Datuk Shamsuddin cites reports that show that only 4% of graduates who apply for jobs get called for an interview. He says it's very important to master the English language if they want to improve their chances of getting a job. And for those with technical skills, the chances of getting a job is much higher. Our advice to those currently in the job market is to make yourself the best candidate out there. There isn't much you can do to change the current low wages. However, you can change yourself to improve your chances of getting hired. Well, we hope you enjoyed our story right there. Perhaps you agree with what MEF said and perhaps you have some views of your own. Well, please share them with us by commenting on our Facebook. Time for a short breather. When we come back, tips for renting in the Klang Valley, how you can actually prepare yourself. Stay tuned. Back with us on Ringgit Cents Plus, you're still with me, Azaria Tagaya. Now, according to the Belanjawanku Budget Guide published by the Employers Provident Fund EPF, those who are single should be spending not more than 300 ringgit a month for housing in the Klang Valley. So in order to spend only that amount of money, this means renting a room or sharing a rented room with a roommate. So looking at this dynamic of renting, we wanted to find out the basics of it. There are many questions those looking to rent for the first time may be asking. If it's just to rent part of the house, then do you need to sign an agreement? And how many months deposit do you actually need? In our next story, we take a look at the challenges faced in renting a room in the Klang Valley. This is the flat that Amir Alif and his 5 other housemates are sharing in Shah Alam. 2 persons share a room and they pay about 300 ringgit a month for the room. Their situation is similar to what many singles are going through in the Klang Valley. Unable to afford rent for a place all to themselves, they are forced to share a room with others. We asked Amir what he thought of the recommended 300 ringgit a month for housing under the Belanjawanku budget.
Kalau individu kita bayar 200 sebulan, kalau satu rumah kita bayar 1050. Sebenarnya agak relevan lah, tapi itu paling maksimum kot saya rasa. Kalau lebih dari itu, saya rasa untuk waktu yang macam sekarang, untuk orang cakap zaman sekarang punya ekonomi, saya rasa tak patut untuk kita sewa rumah yang lebih daripada 400 kalau kita punya pendapatan tu kurang daripada 2,000 sebulan.
We also asked the public if it was possible to rent a room for less than 300 ringgit in the Klang Valley.
300 tu sebenarnya macam cukup makan lah. Dia maybe akan jadi lebih sikit. Kalau area-area macam area kawasan yang pesat, macam tempat yang membangun mungkin akan jadi mahal. Kalau bilik saja boleh jadi macam 500.
Sekarang rumah mahal and then kadang-kadang susah untuk jumpa bilik yang 300. Kalau 300 tu maybe kecil, lepas tu tak include macam wifi, bil air, bil elektrik. So kalau macam sekarang pun maybe 500 you dapat bilik yang medium, tu pun tak include semua.
Okey, memang tak cukup sebenarnya. Sebab RM300 kita kena beli facilities rumah lagi, babaran rumah dengan ekonomi sekarang memang tak cukup.
Sharing a room with others comes with its own set of problems as well.
Saya memang ada masalah dengan housemate, which is housemate macam kita duduk dengan stranger, housemate kita macam tak buat kerja rumah ke, and then housemate yang perangai macam tiba-tiba suka bawa orang masuk rumah, itu benda bagi saya tu benda biasa sebagai duduk rumah sewa.
Housemate kita memang kena memilih sebab housemate memang main peranan penting. Kalau kita dapat housemate yang pemalas, yang memang tak kemas bilik, tak basuh pinggan, benda itu memang efek lah dekat kita punya satu rumah.
Oh, memang confirm masalah sebab lain orang, lain cara, lain budaya, lain cara hidup. So memang, tapi kadang-kadang benda ni bujang, kita tak boleh nak buat apa lah. Memang benda ni yang kita akan face, salah satu asam garam yang kita akan tempuhi lah.
We also spoke to Speed Rent, a company that connects landlords and tenants through their app. According to their CEO, Wong Wei Meng, it is possible to rent a room for less than 300 ringgit in the Klang Valley. However, there is a catch. Usually, these places are situated in the outskirts of town, and you may be required to live with more than 5 people under one roof. He gave us some tips on questions you can ask the landlord before renting a room.
A lot of times you're living with few housemates, so talking to your housemate is also very important. It's not commonly done, but it's okay. It's totally fine that you talk to the landlord and say, I want to talk to other housemates as well, or I want to know who are they, so that number one is of course security. Number two, religious concern like Muslim and pork-free, halal. We need all this environment, so that's very important as well.
We also asked him what was the reasonable price range for a room in the Klang Valley area.
In Speed Rent, we do a lot of transactions, and the range can go anywhere from 400 to 1,002, depending on the area. And of course, it depends on the furnishing. But the average pricing that's going off our platform is at around 550 to 600 ringgit a month. That is in line with 1/3 of your salary. If you start with 1,005, then you basically have 500 ringgit to rent a room. So that's what we are seeing in the market right now in Klang Valley.
So what if you have a conflict with your roommates or housemates?
Sometimes when you talk to other housemates, they may not bother you so much. Who are you to talk to me to do all these things, right? So sometimes you may want to talk to the landlord and say, hey, can you set some rules? I think the problem is always those people who likes it clean are the victims lah. So have the landlord to talk to them, maintaining the house clean, because all landlords also want their house to be properly maintained and be clean, right? So the interest is aligned. So you just need to talk to them and say, hey, can you help me to talk to ABCD? They have all these hygiene issues, or set some rules. Or some, but what we are seeing right now is some landlords actually say, okay, we provide you with cleaning services once a month. It's not clean because once a month is not too clean, but at least it have some kind of expectation. Or some landlords even give twice a month just to wash the common area. So you can negotiate this with the landlord. Pass on the cost to landlord, so you can reduce a lot of quarreling or argument with your people, your housemates.
Wong says that there is no law stating that one has to sign a room rental agreement between the tenant and the landlord. However, it would be good to have one.
Tenancy agreement is something, a contract, but for room rental specifically, because traditionally, most tenancy agreements are for house rental. So house rental, the tenancy agreement normally say, utility bills are all bear by the tenant. So sometimes some landlords don't change the template and just say, okay, this is yours. And problems arise with room rental is that if all your housemate ran away already and left you, and because of the tenancy agreement say you are responsible for utility bills, then you're forced to pay. So it's best that you request a landlord to amend those tenancy agreements to set a certain maximum cap for you, or a percentage of it. Or let's say there are 5 housemates renting it, then you only bear maximum 20% of it. Divide the cost, right? So that you don't have to pay more than what you need, right?
As for deposits, tenants have to prepare 3 months deposit, 1 month for advance rental, 2 months as a security deposit. Tenants may also have to pay a utility deposit if they are paying for the utility bills. If you can, rent near public transportation so that you can cut down on transportation costs as well. Well, we hope you picked up a thing or two from that feature. Coming up next, we try to answer some questions about money. We often get questions from our viewers through our Facebook page. So after the break, we will try to answer together with our partners from Ringgit Plus. In the meantime, if you have a question about money that you need help with, find us on Facebook and message us there. See you after this. Back with us on Ringgit Sense Plus. Now, earlier we spoke about salaries for fresh graduates and also the cost of renting a room in the Klang Valley. And you can watch those videos again later on our Facebook page. Now, for this part of the show, we are again turning to Facebook, where we often get questions from you, the viewers, about personal finance. Now, to help answer these questions, today we have with us in the studio from Ringgit Plus, Han Liu. Hi, thank you so much for joining us on Ringgit Sense Plus. Okay, so first of all, we have a situation here relating to Faris and his friend Adam. So Faris is 25 and he's thinking of quitting his job and he wants to actually start a business with his friend Adam. So people like them need to know a few things before they quit their job and go into entrepreneurship. So what would be your tips for them? What should they know?
I mean, the first thing I'd say to Faris and Adam, right, is that you need to think about whether you're doing entrepreneurship because you're not happy with your job, or is it because you really want to be an entrepreneur or start your own business, right? So some people maybe just be unhappy with their current job, which means you should just change your job, right? That's the first thing, to determine whether it's because you're unhappy with something or you actually want to do something. So that's the first thing, right?
Okay.
And then the second thing to think about is, before you start a business, right, is do I have enough passion for the thing I want to do, right? One, or it's either passion or experience. Do I have the right experience to succeed in a business, be it a retail business or a manufacturing business or a services business? Like, do I have either the passion, the experience, or both? Right? So those are a couple of things that I'd say for Faris and Adam, think about those things before making that leap.
Okay. Now, to start a small business, it's likely that they will have to take out business loans. So what do you think should be the correct advice to give them when looking for a loan? What are some of the things that they should actually know before they embark on this?
In terms of business loans, I mean, there's the thing about business loans is that there's actually a lot of different types of loans to either get started on a business or to expand the business. The first, and not two loans are the same for the same purpose. So here's an example: like if you're in a retail or F&B, food and beverage, a cafe or whatever, right? You can get a higher purchase loan for equipment, right? Which is different from just I need a loan, right? It's specific to a specific reason. I need to buy the kitchen equipment or a coffee machine, these kind of things, where there are specific loans which have those things in mind, which you don't really need a track record for your business, because lenders understand you need these things to start your business, and the machines themselves are charged against the loan. So it's safer for them, the lenders, in order to give you that loan. So that's the first type of loan you need to think about. Another type of loan that entrepreneurs can think about is invoice financing. So here's an example. If you go into business where you are providing services, right, to big corporations, where you can invoice them for your services, and your payment terms with them are 60 days to 90 days later, meaning you do your service and you get paid 60 days to 90 days later. But you think about it, if you provide a service, you might have employees which provided that service for you, which need to be paid this month, right? So there are a type of loan where it's fairly safe as well for the lender, because you're going to get paid just in 60 to 90 days, but you need that short-term financing in order to meet that result, or to meet that requirement to pay your employees or to pay rental or whatever. And the third kind of category of loan is a clean term loan or clean business loan, which is any purpose. And for this, unlike the first two, you're going to need a track record, right? So it's not something that you can do just when you're thinking, I want to start my business, I need to get a loan for any reason. You've got in order to be qualified for that kind of loan, you usually have to have some sort of track record beforehand, have some sort of, not just time track record, but profitability track record. So you've got to make a bit of profit first for a number of months or years before you can qualify for such loans.
I see. Okay. Now, for Faris and Adam and also all our viewers who are thinking of starting business, and maybe some of them are already halfway there, so they're thinking of expanding their business further, what are some of the options that they can look at? Should they take up another loan?
I guess if you're expanding, you're clearly having some sort of success.
Yeah.
Right. The thing I would say always is see if you can expand using the profitability of your current company, because then A, you're not giving anything up by way of requiring a loan, and B, you're not giving up anything by way of giving up your company shares for anything, right? So if you can expand using your existing profitability, that's always the first thing to do, right? Think, hey, I'm making some profits from what I'm doing today. Can I use that to expand my business? So that's the first thing to think about. Then further down the waterfall is, or the thought process is, okay, I'm making some profit, but it's not quite enough to go fast enough or expand fast enough. Can I use this profit to prove to a bank or a lender that I qualify for a loan? So I mentioned earlier about a clean business loan for exactly this kind of purpose. I have some profit, it's not enough to grow fast enough, but I can use loans using that profit track record to then expand my business. Right? And then finally, if you're not quite making enough profits yet, but you need financing in order to reach that kind of break-even or profitability level, then that's when you might want to consider giving up some shares in your company to a private investor or a public investor to then give up a bit of shares in your company to expand your business.
Okay.
So those are the kind of things I would advise Faris and Adam to think about.
Okay, some of the things that they should look at. Well, thank you so much for helping us this week with our questions from our viewers. And as always, it's always a joy to have you guys join us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, guys, that's the end of today's show. Once again, we'd like to thank all of our guests for their time, and thank you to you as well for watching. And for more videos on personal finance, as always, go to our Facebook page and connect with us there. And if you have something that you want to know about personal finance, be it about your savings or your loans, credit cards, or maybe insurance, please do message us on Facebook and we will answer your questions on the show together with our friends from Ringgit Plus. I'm Azaria Tagaya signing off. We will see you next time. Remember to invest and save wisely.